透明にレイオスお願いします。
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the ninth episode of Bounce Back with Nima Mankar. Guess who's here today? Sensei Haridas Govind, a 7th degree black belt in karate with 40 years experience in it. His women's self-defense workshops are very popular. He is a World Karate Federation judge and a national referee. Sensei Haridas has been hosting international karate and Kobudo seminars in Pune every year. Many masters of karate attended, like the legendary master Hanshi Katsutaka Tanaka, a person who has impacted his life the most. Sensei Haridas has also been an avid golfer and has won many competitions in West Africa. He has had a highly successful life in the corporate world. Today, he is completely devoted to the research and teaching of karate. He has his own karate and self-defense establishment. He is the country's head for India for Nihon Karate Do Kenwa Kai International, a Japanese karate school headed by Hanshi Katsutaka Tanaka. So, hello and a big welcome to you, Sensei Haridas.
Hello. It's really nice talking to you, Nima.
Thank you. We are also really privileged to have you here with us. We wish to know a little about your childhood, your family, your education.
I was born in 1969. My dad was an ex-serviceman, very principled and disciplined, yet a very loving personality. My mother, though she was a homemaker, was a rebel and a warrior woman by spirit. I would attribute my rebellious nature and the determined side of mine and the never say die fighting spirit from the genetics I have inherited from my mother. I have two elder brothers and two elder sisters. All of them were academically oriented since their childhood days. But I was more leaning towards the athletic side of life as a kid. And this led to me joining the local karate class, which was very close to my house in the early 80s. I took my karate training very seriously. I used to train almost every day in the morning, and alternate days I used to attend the training sessions at the karate dojo or the class. Eventually, I was given independent charge of a karate class, a dojo, in 1987, where I started teaching. And till 1992, I used to teach continuously in that place till I took up my first corporate responsibility. I studied for my bachelorship in commerce and graduated from Mumbai University. I also did my management studies. That's my academic background.
Nice to know about your family and education. We wish to know a little about your unique profession.
The river of my professional life has two tributaries. Number one is the natural flow of my career thanks to the academic qualification. So I started working in 1992 and gave almost 2 decades of my life working in the marketing and sales profession. Half of that was in India. I worked in various multinational organizations before I got an opportunity with a German group based in Hamburg. They deputed me to their African operations in Ghana. This was in 1999, August. That's how my first journey into a foreign land happened. In Ghana, I had the chance to work with the German organization first, but then eventually I moved on to a group which I served for almost 10 years, and it was a very successful tenure. The second part, the second tributary, goes into what is my passion, and that is karate. I was after shedding the corporate slavery in 2010. I decided not to take up any more corporate assignments and to dedicate my life entirely for the research and teaching of karate and all its applications. In 2011, I started my own karate organization, and I got connected with Hanshi Katsutaka Tanaka, the legendary karate master, and I'm still connected with him. Started off in a small scale with karate for parents, which was beating away from the normal track of generally teaching kids. And eventually, I created women's self defense modules because I saw the urgent and very intense need to empower the women in India with the right skills to face the challenges of modern times. And therefore came about a whole series of women's self defense modules. There are certain specialized modules which I started conducting for educational institutions as well. The work that I'm doing, I have realized that I'm really enriching many people's life and impacting the way people live. So this is something very unique, and I think it's really a blessing to follow your passion and have it as your profession. And there are no more Monday blues anymore.
Very interesting. Your journey has really been so full of events and sounds really interesting. Have you ever faced any setbacks in your life?
Indeed, like every person, I've also had my own good times, bad times, and some setbacks which really hit me hard. The first one I would mention is in my college days in 1989. It was the demise of my father. I grew up thinking that my father is invincible. He was an ex-serviceman, a veteran of the Second World War, etc. So I always saw him as a very strong and tough personality. And to suddenly lose him to cancer was quite a shock for me, especially as a student, though I was teaching, etc. But within me was just a student still to face the challenges and, the wisdom of life. My family, I must say, helped me to really face it strongly. And very importantly, it was karate that helped me to bounce back. After the initial 15 odd days of mourning, then when I tried to get back to life, things were not normal. And there was a lot of emotions wanting to spring out of me. And it found expression through the karate training. And that really helped me to bounce back by releasing all the pent up emotions. That I would rate as the first major setback in life. The next was after I took up the assignment in Ghana for the German group. I joined the group very euphorically. I went and took over my assignment, but then I saw that there were a lot of operational issues which would have led to a major disaster soon. And all my attempts to influence and get myself across to the decision makers were hitting a stone wall. So I realized that I could not really make a difference in this organization. Therefore, in the best interest of the organization and also for my future, I chose to quit. And that was very painful. Within 5 months of joining in August 1999, here I was facing the prospect of leaving without really doing anything substantial.
And that's when, in January 2000, I got an offer from the Printex Group of Ghana to join as the marketing head of its sister concern, Aquafresh Limited, which had interests in the non alcoholic beverage segment.
And I was given the chance to take over and revive the operations of the organization. I did a background study and I realized that this would be a make or break opportunity. And there was a high chance of having a break over here because there were some very, very strong reasons why the first venture had failed. But I took over that opportunity that came my way. Yes, there were a lot of challenges trying to convince the promoters to change many things in the way of operations, etc. And I'm a very system oriented person to bring in the right systems and the right practices. But I must say that it was divine grace I could make headway. And within 4 years, we were market leaders in the fruit juice segment of Ghana. We had dislodged the market leader and we were now in fray to purchase, to buy that company off within 4 years of reviving the dead company. And by 2008, we were number two behind Coca-Cola ahead of Pepsi, as per the AC Nielsen market report. And that was quite a thing because I really became very famous thanks to this, severe recovery of the organization and taking it to the top position. I was also given additional charge of the parent company's textile business for 6 countries, and I was the marketing head the marketing director for the entire group for 6 countries till I was there. So that I would say was quite a bounce back. And it happened because I chose to keep myself humble, and I knew that I could not count on the parent company's reputation. I had to really work hard and devise innovative methods over there. It has also helped me to bloom as a professional. The third one was in golf, because in 2006, I injured my knee very badly. And I was to not do any of the heavy karate exercises. I was asked to take a 1 year break. And being an athletic person by nature, it was difficult for me to not do anything. So I thought I'll do something that does not put pressure on my knees. I took up golf because people said this is an old man's game. But then, to my rude shock, I realized it is not just an old man's game, it is everybody's game. And this is a game where your mind plays the most critical role. I took up the training in golf sometime mid 2006. And by September 2007, I participated in the first competition. And I was very confident that I'll do well, because every competition that I've participated earlier, especially in karate, I did pretty well. So here I was playing the competition. By the time, there are 18 holes in a golf course. By the time I came to the 17th hole, I was sure I must be the most terrible player on earth, because I had fared very, very, very badly. And in my group, there were 3 people, including me. One of the Ghanaian counterparts, he said, "Mr. Harry," my name used to be Harry over there. It was easier for them to pronounce. So he said, "Mr. Harry, I think you may be the last person in this event, and you will win a booby prize." Just to enlighten you, the booby prize is basically awarded to the person who comes last. I did not believe this, because I thought this is some kind of a joke he's playing on me. To my utter shock, after we came back and logged our scorecard and they put our scores on the board, me and my friends, we sat down to have our lunch. And lo and behold, the prize distribution ceremony starts, and they announce my name. And I am completely stunned. I thought it was just a joke, but there seems to be a real thing. And they said, "Mr. Haridas is the winner of the booby prize." And people were cheering and whistling, and I wanted to run away from there. Can you imagine? I mean, you're being announced to be last. The 5 odd meters distance from my table to the distribution ceremony podium, that seemed like an eternal journey. I could not find my feet. I was numb completely. I went there and they actually gave me a prize, which was a pretty expensive golf accessory. I smiled and posed for photographs. I wanted to literally melt away. Uh, but I couldn't. I can't defy logic and melt away. I eventually walked back to my table, and my friends gave me a pat. On the way, some people gave me a pat and say, "No, no, no, never again." And it was such a humiliating experience. I should have taken it in a sportive way, but well, that's not the kind of background I came from. I sat there wondering, why did I take up this game? What a horrible thing to do. And I was very upset at the people for even having awarded me a prize. Can you imagine somebody getting upset for being awarded a prize? The worst was the very next week, I was on tour at a very beautiful place, which is a coastal a town called Takoradi. And they have a very beautiful beach linked golf course. I was in their clubhouse in the afternoon to have lunch, because they have some nice dishes in the menu. To my utter shock, 350 odd, I think almost 300 kilometers away in this golf course, a local African gentleman who was just passing by, he saw me, he came back and said, "Ah, are you not the person who came last in the last tournament at Celebrity Golf Course?" And I was like, "Oh, come on, at least give me a break over here." And I realized that day that bad news spreads longer and faster than good news. you know and that's when I decided that, look, either I'm quitting this game or I'm going to change my image. This is not on. Initially I thought I'll quit, and that seemed to be the easy way out, but then I never liked ways out. So I went back home. My family had already traveled to India by then, so I cleared all the furniture in my living room, installed nets and putting mats and chipping baskets, etc. And every morning and evening, I used to practice at home, apart from the regular golf training. You wouldn't believe this, but in April 2008, that is like 6, 7 months down the line, I won the fourth prize in the Ghana Open National Championship, which is a very prestigious game, and all the top golfers in Ghana play. It is a 3-day competition. On day one, I was even on the leaderboard leading in my particular handicap category. And I received a very beautiful crystal trophy for that, because the top 5 people are awarded crystal trophies. So this was a big bounce back. And in that year, in 2008, I was on such a high, I won 6 trophies. And the fourth one is my World Karate Federation exam. I had this pride that I've been training for like almost 40 years, and I've been teaching for like 30 plus years. And when I approached the World Karate Federation exam, judge exam in Dubai during the World Premier League last year, February, I had an overconfidence in me. There are 2 segments in karate. One is kumite, which is sparring, sports fighting. And the second is forms, which is the traditional movements. I was appearing for both the judge exam for the kumite and the kata side. First was the Kumite exam. I appeared for the theory part, which went off pretty well. And in the practical exam, I think my overconfidence got me. I made some silly mistakes. And again, the sinking experience of, oh my God, I'm going to fail. I was 100% sure I'm going to fail the first exam. I came back to the hotel and I wondered what to do, because I knew this is going to hit me for the second exam in a very negative way. I was already getting that sinking feeling. And that's when I spoke to my roommate and I said, look, for the next 2 days, because the Kumite exam was very long, so it was for the next 2 days. I said, for the next 2 days, while rest of them are having their exams, I am not going to be talking to you. And you don't disturb me as well, because I'm going to focus entirely on what I should do. And I completely sank myself in the subject. And 3 days after that, in the second exam, I scored 100%. And I was awarded my World Karate Federation badge and license. And that was a very proud moment. In India, as on date, valid licenses for World Karate Federation, only 28 people have it. I think 29 people have it. One person passed it this year. Out of 650 odd participants, I think only 27 passed in my category, and I was one of them. Over 54 countries had sent their, karate experts for the exam. So that was quite a bounce back.
Very, very impressive, I must say. Now, I want to ask you, apart from this karate and golf, do you think your optimistic nature also helped you bounce back to success?
Yes, absolutely. You see, what I have realized over the years, be it me watching my students also bouncing back from their bad times, what I've realized is our state of mind is the most important thing. And what attitude we practice on a day to day basis is what we eventually become. And I must say that every time I bounced back, this positivity in me has just become stronger and stronger. And I have been trying to rub this off into all my students as well, so that they also, because problems in life is natural, and it's not going to be all a bed of roses journey for in life. So as and when challenges come in front of you, sometimes you are helpless completely. Sometimes the battles in life you're sure you're going to lose, but some battles in life are so glorious that it's worth battling on. So maintaining that optimistic mindset, maintaining the positive mindset is very, very critical. And we have to also be supportive and help the people who are connected with us in various ways, directly or indirectly. Whenever they face such issues, we got to help and support them in maintaining that positivity.
Please share with us a few funny incidents of your life.
Uh, I have on my one side, although I've got the serious karateka side to me, I've got a very humorous side to me as well. And there are and many things around me, I see the humor in them. Okay, so I can mention a couple of them. One is in my school days when I was in 8th standard. Because I come from a family full of academic scholars, and I wasn't really falling in the scholarly group in those days, because I just wanted to be out of the rest of the group. So now my dad, I used to always score for between, especially in mathematics, between 45 to 50%, because I thought that is enough. I just want to pass. I don't want to feature in the list of toppers. And I used to prefer to go out and play instead. So even if I know the answers, I used to just appear for 45, 50% marks and then go out and play. So my dad, he said, okay, the next half yearly exam, if you score 90%, I will gift you a full cricket set. And that was quite a motivation for me. I got going with my challenge in front of me. I really dedicated myself morning and evening practicing all mathematical sums, asking for help from my elder brother, etc. And in the half yearly exam, I scored 98%. And even I was surprised. So I ran back home with my answer sheet. I presented it to my dad and I said, look, I've got 98%. And now I was having all great expectations. I thought my dad will say, congratulations, son. Now, which cricket set do you want? Which brand would you like me to buy for you? And he gave me a shock. He said, you bugger, you got 98%, which means you can study well, you got good brains. No cricket set for you. I want you to get me 100% marks in the next unit exam. That did not go down well with me. I said, all right, you want 100%, I'll give you 100%. You can't cheat me like this. And the subsequent year, around January end or early Feb, we had our unit test. And I had decided that I'm going to not score anything this time. And some of the sums from the half yearly exams were repeated in the unit examination, but I chose to make deliberate mistakes. I even skipped some of the sums. I did not even attempt them. Guess what I got? I got a beautiful egg on my answer sheet. So this time, well, the rebellious nature did not really work in my favor, because when I looked at my answer sheet, then rose the prospect of all the disaster that's going to follow after this. Reluctantly, I walked back home, the agonizing walk back home, and then the presenting of the answer sheet, because you got to get your father's signature on the answer sheet. He saw my answer sheet and a zero on it. That was it. All hell broke loose. My mother was in tears, and I got thrashed by everybody under the sun. And now, when I look back, it seems so naive, such a naive thing to do, and it's so funny now. I think this is what mastery is all about. You master something when you're able to laugh at it later on in life. Once you are able to laugh at some of the misfortunes of your life, that's when I think you're sort of getting to some degree of mastery. The second very funny experience that I'd like to share is of an incident which happened when I was in Africa. One of my top distributors was very close to me, a good friend. I visited his place in 2003. I think it's around June time. My family was in India because my daughter was just born in April of 2003. And, we had to wait for 6 months before I could take her to Ghana. So I had already left for Ghana. And when I visited my distributor, he said, how is everything, Mr. Harry? I said, everything is fine. Then he said, okay, so please tell me, how is my wife and child? I was like, excuse me, what did you say? He said, how is my wife and child? And he had a very serious expression on his face. And his wife was standing right behind him and smiling away. And I thought, what kind of a practical joke is this? It didn't feel funny at all at that moment, because I thought, is he accusing me of something negative? And I was wondering, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say? This doesn't make sense. Should I fold my hands and say, look, you got me wrong, I've never done anything wrong in life? He said, what's wrong with you? I'm asking you, how is my wife and child? And this time the tone was a little more stern. And I was completely blank, almost on the verge of again that melting and sinking feeling. Then he said, Mr. Harry, I'm asking you, how is your child who was born recently and your wife? That is what I'm asking. That's when I understood, that was his way of saying, your wife and child, but my people, that oneness kind of a thing. And oh, then the sweat started to coming out and I started to relax. And I said, okay, I got it. Okay, they are fine. And then he said, what did you think? I said, no, I didn't think anything. It's okay. Nothing wrong with that. I didn't think anything. I thought he's accusing me of something which I've not been part of. And then it turned out to be something very innocent and sweet.
Yeah, very funny indeed. How important do you think is the inclusion of karate as compulsory subject in school curriculum, especially keeping in mind the girl child?
This is a very, very good and relevant question, especially keeping in mind today's times. We live in very, very altered times as compared to what it used to be when we were children. Schools are preparing children to be academic scholars. There are not too many schools focusing on giving value based, mentorship to the students. And this is where karate training can be invaluable, because the three strong pillars of karate: manners, discipline, and respect, these are really invaluable. There are certain other valuable add on to the characteristics of a growing child that we can imbibe is perseverance and the never say die attitude. We also keep in mind girl child specific topics. We have to empower, especially India specific, we have to empower the girl child with skills that are going to empower her to face the challenges of the future. There was a time when women were not seen as active contributors in the corporate world or in the world outside their homes. They were only known as homemakers. They were just accepted as homemakers. But now we are in very altered times where women are coming up. In fact, the girls are doing even better than boys in the academic side. So there are a lot more girls empowering themselves, becoming engineers and managers and taking up leading roles as leaders. Now, what's happening is a society where the boy child is fine-tuned to understand that girls are not supposed to be, taking up such kind of roles. She is bound to face a lot of challenges. It is not going to be easy. So she has two options. One, she can go back to how the society was earlier. Two, she can empower herself and really grow and bloom to what best she can be. And this is where I think karate training plays a very, very, very important role. And that's why I have even fine tuned some of my karate modules to have short courses for the girl child, especially before they get into college. Out of school, when they suddenly go into college, they look like adults, but they're still children deep within. So I prepare them to face the challenges of the world outside the immunity of a school uniform. And I think this is where karate and karate teachers can play a very, very critical role in creating a better society and especially empower the girl child and really give her that equal footing that she is seeking as she grows.
Well, our listeners would have definitely found your talk very interesting and informative. Please say a few words of inspiration to them.
I would like to summarize and take one word and ask everybody to just put this word as a seed in their mind and work on this. And that word is awareness. Being aware. Sadly, we are in a world which is bombarding us with gadgets, be it laptops, be it cell phones, be it television, all kinds of things constantly bombarding us. We are constantly training to be restless. I see often people even eating their lunch or dinner or breakfast while watching TV or texting messages, etc. They say man's fundamental needs are food, clothing, shelter, not TV, mobile phones, etc. They all come later. You ask a man who's or a woman who is starving for 5 days, what's the most important thing? Does she want a iPhone or would she like food? I can bet she's going to ask for food, not for an expensive iPhone. So the fundamental, the basic first need is food. At least while eating food, you can start by practicing awareness. When you put that morsel in your mouth, feel the texture, feel the flavors, feel how it melts in your mouth. Someone prepared it with love for you. I mean, assuming that you've not ordered it from a hotel. If your mother prepared it, your wife prepared it, or you prepared it, you've put your energies in that. Why don't you absorb it with full awareness? Practice that awareness in everything you do. You know, believe me, your life will have a marked difference. The quality of your life will be enhanced without spending a single dollar or single rupee.
Very well said. Thank you very much, sir, for spending so much of your valuable time with us and keeping us engaged with your wonderful stories.
Thank you very much, Nima. It was so wonderful talking to you.
正面に、レイ、オス。どうもありがとうございました。
So, dear listeners, if you like this conversation, then do tune in again for another inspiring talk on 3rd of next month on Bounce Back with Nima Mankar. Thank you, Manan and Elvis, for your technical support.